Good morning, everyone. Welcoming to another session of Mastering Maize and Blue. We're here today, two orientation leaders and a very special guest. So if we can get to introducing ourselves. My name is Ezra Houghtby. I'm an incoming sophomore this year. I'm majoring in secondary education with an English concentration and a minor in history. And I'm involved with, obviously, the orientation team, our student government on campus this year, and our men's ice hockey team.
Hi everyone, I am Christina Lai and I am an incoming sophomore this upcoming fall semester. And I am majoring in behavioral and biological sciences, and I am currently on the pre-veterinary track. I am also involved in Circle K International, Fresh Start, Pre-Professional Health Society, Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students, and Glee Club on campus.
And hi, my name is Maureen Linker. I'm a professor of philosophy here at UM-Dearborn and also the director of the Mardigian Library. And I'm really happy to be here with you, Ezra and Christina.
We certainly love having you here, Maureen. Thank you for coming and being a guest on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming so much.
My pleasure.
So, first question, how long have you been at UM-Dearborn?
Well, Christina, I have been here for quite a while. I came to UM-Dearborn in 1996 as an assistant professor in philosophy, and I have been here ever since.
All right. That's certainly a long time. So
Thanks,
since
Ezra.
1996, what's the thing you've enjoyed most about working at UM-Dearborn, or maybe a couple things you've enjoyed most?
Thanks for saying a couple of things, because it would be really hard to pick one. And because I have been here for quite a while and had lots of different roles, both in the classroom as a professor and a researcher. I was also director of women and gender studies for a period of time, and worked in the provost's office and then at the library. So, thanks for saying a couple of things. I think I would say, though, that the thing that has stood out most and has made me really love working here are our students and the community here. So I'm a first generation student myself, first in my family to graduate from college. I went to college in New York City at Brooklyn College, and it was a commuter campus. And I studied philosophy, which didn't seem totally practical, but I loved it. I loved higher education, and I had wonderful professors who mentored me. And so when I had the opportunity to start teaching at UM-Dearborn, I felt like it was such a great fit for me, because I understood what it's like to be a commuter student and what it's like to have family responsibilities and job responsibilities, and also to appreciate education. And that's what I felt from our students are that it's really a community of people who appreciate learning. And I think there's a real kind and caring sense to our community. I mean, people smile at you when we're on campus. People open doors for you. There's a lot of diversity, and yet people learn together and work together and value each other's differences and find common ground. So I just find the community here really unique and amazing and lovely. You know, it's I think a community of learners in the very best sense. So I've never had students treat me like, you know, they're customers. They know they're making an investment. They know they're making sacrifices to go to school, but they really care and value the education they're getting and what they're going to bring to their families and their communities with their degrees. So that's, I guess, what I love the most. And I've had that in multiple different roles.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And do you find parallels from, starting as a professor to, director of the library, do you see like parallels in the way that you get to interact with students? Like, is there something unique that you do with them, or is it a little different in a way?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think I used to do more of providing the information and resources myself in the classroom and with students. Now I get to connect students to multiple resources and many different sources of information and great people in the library who can do that. So it feels like I've gone maybe from playing an instrument in the orchestra to now conducting a little more, and that's fun.
That's a great like sort of analogy. I never would have thought about it that way, but the way you described that, that certainly does seem like it's been fun to kind of start in one spot and end up in another.
Yeah, it's been
Definitely.
great.
Yeah, and it's certainly amazing that you mentioned a lot about connecting with the students, and I believe that's very important, and that is a great aspect that we have at UM-Dearborn, because what you do on a daily basis is that you're connecting yourself with the students and even connecting them to new resources. So it's all about, I guess, it's just we're all just one big family here, and it's amazing, and I'm glad that you noticed that working here.
Yeah, it's something I tell people all over the place. And I've been a guest, like a visiting professor at some other places. And, you know, I've had good experiences, but I just find our community to be unique. And through the years that thread has continued of we're a community of people who care and learn from each other's differences and respect them and grow together and make our region better. I mean, the leaders that I see, the student leaders I see on our campus give me so much hope for our community and for our region and for our nation, honestly, because I just see such innovative and collaborative work together. So, for example, the two of you here doing this podcast early in the morning so that you can share information with our community here.
Yeah, that's certainly, I enjoy being here, and I've only been here, 1 year. This will be my second to start the fall. But even I've noticed that. And I think it is really a testimony to the community here that we all, embrace that diversity, and we all want to help each other. We all want to learn and be successful. So I
Right.
think that really is amazing.
Yes, I certainly agree. So Maureen, out of all of the available resources at UM-Dearborn, why did you choose to work at the library specifically?
Great question. So I was an unlikely pick for the director. I should say that because my doctorate is in philosophy, and I don't have a master's degree in library science, which is usually the path that library directors would go. But our former provost, Kate Davey, after the former library director retired, our provost asked if I would be interested in temporarily taking the position. And the reason she had asked me, there were two reasons. One, my own research is in information and knowledge and how certain kinds of opinions or beliefs become knowledge. Like, why do we, for instance, teach astronomy but not astrology in higher education? And there's an important history about why that's so. And so that's the kind of things I was researching. Why do some things become knowledge that is taught at the university level, and why are some things not? How do we go about accreditation processes, that kind of thing. So I was very interested in information generally, but I'd also done a lot of collaborative projects on campus. I led a project called Honors Transfer Innovators, which was a program for transfer students to get some experiential learning and credit for past experiences. So that was a project I had worked on. And I'd worked on a few other projects, and what the provost had wanted me to do was to connect the colleges more to the library to create kind of an interdisciplinary center where we could try some different things out. Students wouldn't have to be graded, but they could try some things. And so we we piloted a program called the Idea Lab, where we had 3 classes meet at the library to work on a project together a couple of times during the semester. So for me, it was an opportunity to take some of the research I had been doing and the collaborations across campus and put them in a center in the middle of campus, where all the colleges and all the students in all the colleges could come together. And I'd also noticed, I spent some time checking out the library at all different hours, and I noticed that the library was full at night until midnight. It was open on the weekends, and our students really made great use of it. So I thought, you know, the library is a center and kind of maybe the place to be on campus. And so I thought, I want to be there more and set up some programming that could really be available for our students.
Yes, certainly. I completely agree. And I believe that also what I've noticed is that since you did mention your interest in a lot of like research and information collecting, it kind of makes sense to me at least that the library, you're surrounded by all the information that you can get. And I just believe that's amazing that you love working at the library and that it correlates to your prior interests as well and your current interests. That's certainly amazing to me that you're passionate about all that.
Well, thank you.
Yes, of course, no problem.
Yeah, and the programs and initiatives that you brought up, the things like Idea Lab, like I participated in that this past fall with Professor Bauman's class for one of my, I think it was called Tech Design Learning Solutions or something like that. And I thought that was a cool program because we had to work with like engineering students and math students and all that. And it was really cool to be part of that. So Idea Lab, I can say, was really cool. I hope that sticks around.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
great, Ezra.
I think the programs that you know you've initiated in the library are really cool. Just wanted to say that.
Well, that's so cool. Thanks. And you know, couldn't do it without the amazing team in the library. But the Idea Lab is a good example, and I'm so glad to know that you participated in it. And you know, aside from getting to work with other students, there was pizza, and also you were solving a real challenge, right? It was the Math Tutoring Center was looking right. So that's
it was neat, and then I even got to meet some librarians too, which you know it's nice when I walk into the library and you know see you have a little friendly face that you can just wave to, like I know
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Professor Bauman's so innovative and creative. I think he's got great ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He does. I like this class a lot.
Cool. So,
Maureen, I know you've talked a lot about what goes on at the library, what, you know, programs you've put through, but I guess what aspect or aspects do you find like most enjoyment in when you're at the library working?
Again, great question. The word enjoyment is sticking out for me because there's a lot of things that are worth doing. There are a lot of things that are important to do, like looking over at vendor contracts to make sure our databases are up to date, fixing broken links for our e-resources. But those are not necessarily the most enjoyment. Those are important. But in terms of the most enjoyment, I would say that it really is honestly just so much fun to say to my team at the library, let's find out what students are going to need for this upcoming semester. Let's look at some things we might be able to offer. And a sub-team will start working on a survey. So this happened last year with a program we called Final Jam. We said, you know, students are here studying for their finals, but wouldn't it be cool if their professors were here with them too? And they could just drop in and maybe ask a quick question and no pressure, but like if their professors were here anyway, in the evening or on weekends, and they just wanted to go in and with a couple of friends and study and just know that the professor was there to answer a quick question. What if we did something like that? And so we asked some of the faculty if they'd be interested in participating, and there were lots of people who wanted to do it. And we started marketing it, and we called it the Final Jam, and we were going to offer peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for students, and that you could come in your jammies if you wanted. It was just during finals week, and just putting that together, and it didn't cost a lot of money. It was tapping people who were doing the things they were doing anyway. Faculty were grading and students were studying. So why not just do it all together in the library? But we did it in the morning, in the evening, and on weekends. And it was a really popular program. So popular that Henry Ford students who were in the library studying asked if they could go in and ask a question. And we said, sure. Faculty were fine with that too, if it was in the right subject area. But it just created a really collaborative environment. And the planning and implementing and then seeing it used, seeing people participating in the program, that's really the most fun that we have. And it requires, the front of the library, the people who work in the front of at the front desk, and the librarians, but also people in the back of the house, people who are doing the tech, and making sure that if a professor wanted to show a particular resource to help answer a question, that we had everything up and running. And so that kind of all department collaboration, getting everybody together and supporting our students and our faculty, because of course, if students do better on their finals, it's better for faculty, right? They want students to succeed. So, and some of our faculty didn't realize we were open so late, or that we were open on weekends. Some of them, most of them did, but to have them be in there, and some of them came in, in their sweats and their big mug of coffee and said, sure, I'm here if you want to drop in. And so we set them up in rooms. That was really fun. That was an example of something that's really fun.
Yeah, I certainly believe that there's a myth that you can't have fun in the library. And for me, especially, like, as you can see in the picture that's before us, that's me and my friends studying on finals week, and we're just having a blast. And it's we're literally in the library, and it's like, that doesn't mean that just because you're in the library that it should stop you from having fun with your friends studying. So I'm certainly glad that the library has amazing and fun resources like that. I have yet to try it myself, which I am excited about now, because I never got to try it last year. So I guess maybe in the future, that's going to be a really fun resource to make even more memories in the library.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think to go off that point of, having fun and whatnot in the library, like with programs like Final Jam and whatnot, is that people, like, we all know that finals week is stressful and tough, and sometimes you just sit there and you're like, I gotta study, I need help, I don't know what to do. So having things like that also are great, because they take, stress off the student body, knowing that there's professors that help you. And even outside of finals week, like, there are librarians that will help you find, what you need to find, and you can just study with people there. And like, I think that's great. It makes it fun. It makes it less stressful, because like you said, everybody wants to see everybody succeed. So
Exactly.
So how will the library's resources be offered to students in the fall 2020 semester?
Great question. I'm excited about this question, because I'm excited to answer this question. So, so we've been doing quite a bit over this past summer in prepping for the fall, and we have a lot of exciting things I think I could share now, but also some things we've already been doing. So one thing we've been doing during the summer is we developed our student assistants. So we have students who work part-time in the library and help us at the front desk and help us with shelving. And so we asked since we weren't open on site, but we were open virtually, we asked our student assistants to come up with some programming based on a survey that we did to the entire campus on how people were handling remote learning. And what they came up with was a series of panel presentations called Get Into Your QA Routine. And the panels ran, the topics ran from how to get motivated, how to develop effective study habits, how to find resources through the library online using the library website. And we invited faculty to participate in those and students to participate in those, and we recorded them. And so we have the Get Your Into Your QA routine videos on our library website. And we think they're going to be really helpful for the beginning of the semester. We've also been working on modules for faculty to put into Canvas for students, and they're entirely designed for students. We're using Powtoons and making the videos look really fun and interactive. And they include everything from how to sort of how to navigate through Canvas, how to read the syllabus and use it in an effective way, and also how to use memory and cognition techniques to be more effective at studying. So there's a whole range of topics there, and those will be available both from the library website and in Canvas. Faculty will put them in Canvas. We've also, if you go to our library website now, you'll see that we're open every day from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. virtually. And on our website, there is a chat widget. And during the hours we are open from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. We have 2 librarians and 1 staff member monitoring the live chat. And the chat widget follows you through your search. If you go into databases, if you look for streaming videos, if you're looking for information, the chat widget follows you to help you and answer any questions. And I review the transcripts every day, and it's amazing the level of help and support that our librarians and staff are giving to students and faculty who are chatting. Students are asking about assignments who are taking summer courses. They're asking about how to find resources, and they're just getting really excellent help. I mean, it's just wonderful to read the transcripts. And since we've instituted the chat widget, we always had, you could chat with us in a box, but the widget now follows you around. We've doubled the number of people who are reaching out to us with questions. So, so it's been a wonderful addition, and that will be with us from now on. So I just want to let students know there are 2 librarians and a staff member ready to talk with you throughout the entire time we're open, which, as I said, now it's 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. And that includes weekends. We're open on Saturday. We're available Saturday and Sunday as well. And so lots of students reach out to us over the weekend with assignments they're working on. As Ezra mentioned, we have subject specialty librarians. They are excellent specialists in the areas in which they work, everything from behavioral and brain sciences and psychology to education. And they work closely with faculty and students in their areas, and they're available for virtual reference appointments and research appointments. So that doesn't mean, that you have to go knowing exactly what you're looking for. They'll help you develop research questions for papers. They'll help you find the resources that you'll need for the research papers that you're doing. And by research paper, I mean, you can do a research paper in English, as you know, Ezra, right? You have to find sources. That's what I mean. And our librarians can help you find sources. They can show you how to cite sources. They can teach you how to be a great detective of the resources we have. I think sometimes students may not realize that the resources we have are paid in part from tuition dollars, and they are the kinds of resources that if you were not in college would be extremely expensive to access. Corporations and businesses pay a lot of money to access the resources we have, and you have them available to you as a student as part of your tuition. And they're not just important for the research you're doing for your classes, but they can also be resources that you use within your own family. My son had an illness. He's fine, but at one point it was kind of rare, and we were trying to find some answers. And I had access to all these medical databases to look at the latest studies, and wound up finding the right physician who who could handle that illness, who was here in Michigan at University of Michigan's Medical Center. But I only found that because I had access to these databases. And so it's incredible the amount of resources they have, but it can be overwhelming to navigate them. And our librarians are experts at doing it, and they love sharing that information. So they're available for virtual research appointments throughout the fall, and they're excited about doing it, and they're going to be doing instruction sessions in remote classes. So they'll be doing visits about how to navigate the website. So we've been doing all sorts of improvements on the website to make sure that it's user-friendly and people can get in there, and also that we're right there with you, helping you along the way. We're virtual, but we are absolutely right there with you.
Yes, and we certainly appreciate that, just because at least I remember when I had to write my first research paper in college at UM-Dearborn, I was completely lost, not going to lie, but the library got me on the right track. But especially with being able to cite in different formats that you wouldn't normally use, because I used to use a lot of MLA format. However, this one course I took, you had to use Chicago, and I had no idea what it was. But the librarians helped me and helped guide me towards the correct resources and how to format them. And that certainly helped me a whole lot. And I'm glad to hear that that you all are available online, especially with chat. So it's you are all at my just the matter of our fingertips to reach out to. But that's amazing.
Well, that's great, Christine. I'm so glad you got the help that you needed for that, because that's exactly what we're here for, and what we love to do. And we're planning, we're planning something like a final jam, but we're a virtual final jam. So we're excited about programming for the fall, and participating and using Zoom and other resources to make sure that we stay connected.
So we've talked about, a lot of the resources that students use and what's available to them. So I guess now that we've kind of highlighted all that's, at a student's disposal to use, what do you think they don't utilize as much on campus, but they should take advantage of? Like, is there one or two instances that you can remember of a student like not using something that the library set up for them?
Well, I already talked about our databases and e-resources, just to remind people that how valuable they are, and that we have folks to help you navigate through them. I guess I would add in addition that we have a really substantial number of ebooks and streaming videos that are free for you to access. And I don't know if students look through the ebooks that we have. And I mean, not just for classes, but also for pleasure, right? We have novels, we have graphic novels, we have our librarian selectors really try to select two for your courses, but also for student development, sort of as humans, right, and as citizens. So I think it's important to remember to de-stress, and one way to de-stress is with great films that you might not ordinarily see in the theater, and we have access to some incredible films, independent films as well as big blockbusters, and also ebooks and novels that are recommended by our librarians for expanding your understanding on a whole host of different topics. So I guess I would remind folks that the library is also a place to de-stress and find resources that you can download for free and have. So you don't always have to go to Amazon to look for a film or a movie. You can also look at what we have available and find some recommendations and descriptions of things to help you manage the stresses of being a full-time student and understanding your environment more.
I love that you mentioned, that the library has a lot of the stuff that you could get on Amazon or a streaming service. And I think, it's important, as you highlighted earlier, like through tuition, that partly pays for what the library has. So you might as well take advantage of it and not break the bank.
Exactly. They're your resources.
Mm-hmm.
And we've vetted them and we've chosen them because we think they're going to be valuable. So you can explore. You can just explore and see and try things. And at no additional cost to you, right? They're just they're there for you. They're your resources.
So personally, what is your favorite floor at the library and why?
I appreciate what Ezra was saying before about finding the quiet on the third. My office is on the 4th floor. So by the way, when we're if you're on campus and back on site, I'll be on the 4th floor. But I do have to say, Christina, that photo of you was on the 2nd floor. And I guess that is my personal favorite floor, just because there's so much going on the 2nd floor. There's group study rooms. There are just a whole host of different kinds of studying and interaction going on. I love to see whiteboards up around tables with formulas all over them, or text that students are analyzing together. So I think the 2nd floor to me is just a lot of fun. That's where I see people meeting their friends, working together, and collaborating. And we had a guest services officer who helped us close up at night when we were on site. And he said to me after working for a couple of weeks at the library, he said, it's just remarkable how much work these students are doing. They're having fun, they're talking, but he said, they're clearly studying. Like, they work really hard. They're such a good example of like what college students are doing. They really put in the hours and the time. And I was so proud and impressed because he hadn't worked in a library before and he didn't know what to expect. And he thought there just might be a lot more silliness and a lot less work. And he's like, they're doing both, right? They're having fun and they're problem solving and they're doing it together and they're really putting in the hours. So I love to see that. I totally get the need for quiet space and I'm glad we can provide it. But it's a lot of fun to see how everybody's using group space.
Yeah, the 2nd floor is probably one of my favorites, as along with the 3rd floor. Since we do have the whiteboards available to us, that is probably honestly my favorite resource at the library is the whiteboards, because of the group study and especially since I was enrolled in chemistry last 2 semesters, it was certainly helpful to work with my friends on whiteboards and just practice problems over and over again. Also, the expo wipes and erasers, certainly very, very helpful. Love those. Never would have thought that the library would lead me to respect expo markers and expo wipes so much. Yeah, I don't know. I personally love the library for that, especially since there are whiteboards around other resources on campus and buildings. But the library is certainly helpful since the whiteboards are like usually double-sided. So I would just have my friends, like 2 friends on one side, 2 friends on the other side. And we would say like, hey, how's your problem on the other side going? But yeah, it's, I don't know, certainly a fun space on the 2nd floor. A lot of adventures.
That's great. And we keep an inventory of the whiteboards. We always, if there's something that a wheel needs to be fixed or something that needs to be done, we are on it. We're always budgeting and including whiteboards in annual budget analysis because we know how well they're used. And I'll add one last thing. We had a gallery. The university has an amazing art collection, mostly glass art, and we had a gallery on the third floor that's now on the first floor. We've relocated the gallery, the Stamos gallery, on the first floor. So one thing I also like is that students can go from the second floor easily down the stairs. And if they want to just chill out, they can go into the gallery. They can go to the Picasso mug life. And so I see a lot of students moving between the first and second floor for breaks, enjoying the gallery or going to the cafe or talking to the librarians in the Library Research Center. So that movement between the spaces seems, it gives me the sense that students are really almost like living in the space. They're inhabiting it and using it for multiple purposes. And I love seeing that.
Yeah, and the cafe certainly has helped a lot, especially when my friends and I have a bad habit of studying so much that we forget, like, wait,
Exactly.
did we drink any water? Like, are we good? And we usually just go down to the cafe. We're like, we need a coffee break and we need like a sandwich.
Right.
And especially the staff there is just amazing. They like know us by now, where they're like, oh yeah, you wanted this, right? And we're like, yep, don't even have to.
They know your order, right?
Yeah.
They're super fun. We asked them to be in a picture, like a thank you picture that we had taken for donors to the library. So alumni, donors who have contributed to, we have scholarship funds in the library for our student assistant workers. And we asked the folks from the cafe to take a picture with us because they're our buds. And just like what you're saying, Christina, when we go in, they'll know people's orders. They often have like fun music playing. So yeah, that sense of community is definitely there.
So Maureen, I guess with this slide, were there any fun facts that we haven't covered that you'd like to share? I know we talked a little about what you've done in your time at UM-Dearborn and what roles you served, but are there anything else that we haven't missed or that we have missed?
Well, this often surprises people, especially in Michigan. So I didn't learn how to drive until about 6 months before I came here to UM-Dearborn. So I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. My family didn't have a car. And I took, I walked to elementary school. I took the subway to high school. And I took the subway to college. So, and if we had to travel as a family, we took the Long Island Railroad to go out to the beaches in Long Island. So when I was finishing up graduate school, my dissertation advisor said, if you're going to go on the job market, you better learn how to drive. And so while I was finishing my dissertation, I took driving lessons in New York City, by the way. So it was a little bit hectic. And, I wasn't 16 or 17. I was in my late 20s and much more aware of the risks. So I was a little bit more, I think, nervous than most new drivers. But I passed my dissertation defense and I failed my driving test. And but I did take it again before I went on the job market and passed it. So it took me 2 tries. But so I was a new driver when I moved here, and now I'm a very experienced driver, and thankfully I've been a very safe driver. But that astounds, when I've told my students that, they're like astounded. Like, what? How did you get to be like 29 and not ever, I've never driven? And it didn't come up. And I know it's hard to imagine that, but it is possible to live like that in the US.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I personally do not have my driver's license yet, so my friends have the same reaction where they're like, wait, you can't drive? And I'm like, yeah, well, I just never got around to it. But also because I never really needed to. Like, I had the bus to get to school. My parents would drive me around, so it just kind of never came up, I guess, or wasn't really as needed or pushed. So I certainly understand where you're coming from, how your friends are like, what? Like they're so astounded. But especially since I do love traveling, my fun fact about me is actually like I've almost been to all 50 states in the US. So I think it kind of goes around with the fact that it's kind of shocking that I don't know how to drive because I've been to so many places.
You've traveled, yeah.
But I don't know, I guess it's kind of ironic.
So are you planning on getting your driver's license?
Yes, I am planning on getting it around maybe next, hopefully next summer if everything is over with. It kind of, the current situation kind of added as a roadblock, so didn't really help my scenario on getting my license this year.
Exactly.
Ezra, did you say your?
Yeah, what's your fun fact, Ezra?
Fun fact?
Yeah.
So I guess one fun fact about me is that, you know, I love pets. We've had dogs and cats growing up for as long as I can remember. So we had a Dalmatian, then we had a little Yorkie poo, and then now I have 2 cats. And one of them tried to just make an appearance. She was trying to sit on my lap and then get on the floor, but you know, I wasn't gonna let her. Can't think of any other fun facts about me right now other than, you know, I love music, love sports. That's pretty much all I can think of right now on the spot. I'll think of something great later because that's always how it goes.
Those are pretty good. Well, in the future, Christina can take care of your mini pets.
Yes.
You will
have. Take care of them all.
Yes. Just give me a call.
Exactly. Give her office a call.
I'll text you.
So, other than fun facts about you, what advice would you like to give to new students coming to UM-Dearborn this upcoming fall?
Again, great question. I guess one of the things that I would want students coming in the fall to know is that I mentioned that we have subject librarians who are available to answer questions and help. But we have, in particular, we have a first-year experience librarian. Her name is Sophia McFadden-Kiesling, and her specialty area is first-year experiences. So for incoming students, whether you're an incoming freshman or an incoming transfer student, Sophia did her library science degree at University of Michigan-Ann Arbor at their School of Information, and her area of expertise is first-year experience. That is, what is it like to start at a university that has research expectations? How do you start to navigate through your courses and kind of level up from high school or from community college or other college experiences, you know, to the university that you're in? And Sophia is so much fun and thinks so long and hard about how to help students navigate that first year. She, for instance, she came up with a program to find ducks in the library, these little rubber ducks that she had ordered that were super cool. They were like ducks that were dressed differently. You know, there were like skateboarding ducks and professor looking ducks and explorer, you know, Indiana Jones ducks, but you put them in all these different little places in the library, and it was for stress reduction, but it was, they were placed in specific places so that students would learn about the library and what was there. And it was a super fun program. Like, people really enjoyed it because they'd come in and they could find them and then you could keep them. But it was just a way for students initially who were shy and who came in not really knowing who should I ask for? What should I ask for? How should I learn about this space? So there was just this fun sort of treasure hunt you could do to get to know the space. And that was something that she organized, and she really made it fun for our students. She organized a silent dance party on the second floor for Halloween, where everybody wore their headphones, and we had the U of M-Dearborn radio DJ there. And everybody tuned into that on their headphones, and we did a silent dance party, and it was super fun. So she's, in addition to the very real expertise she also has a real sense of fun. And so I would just recommend that students get to know our first year experience librarian, in addition to the other librarians there, because that's something that she is passionate about, is making the library experience fun and accessible, and welcoming students to campus and to research.
That's amazing that that's available. I didn't even know that we had Sophia,
yeah.
to help first year students like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're lucky to have her.
So we do want to have this podcast come to an end soon, but if anyone has any inquiries, be sure to contact Maureen. Her email is provided on the screen, and that will be her preferred contact if you need to reach her. So be sure to contact her if you have any more inquiries.
And then outside of Maureen's contact info, if you just have something general about the library that maybe you want to discover, you can go to www.umdearborn.edu, and you'll want to go to the Students tab, which will pop up on the top of your screen. And if you scroll down to the area called Learning Resources, there's a link right to our library right there. It'll take you to their website. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and check that out too.
Yes, come and chat with us.
Yes, because now the new chat feature, which is going to be so cool. I'm excited to use that myself.
Excellent.
But Maureen, we would like to thank you, one more time for being our guest today on our podcast, and kind of enlightening you, and I think Christina and I, on just how much you all have prepared for, this upcoming fall and the challenges we face. But outside of that too, just what's available to students. So thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, it was such a pleasure talking with both of you, Ezra and Christina. Thank you for your great questions, and thank you for the opportunity to share this and for the work that you're doing. And I'm excited about the fall.
Yes, we are too. We're very excited.
And if you do want to tune in to more podcasts for the Mastering Maize and Blue series, be sure to check out our website, which is umdearborn.edu/mastering maize and blue. There are going to be recorded sessions there, as well as upcoming podcasts for the summer. So be sure to check that out. Thank you for listening.